Stylus graphic that we got to see that is presented by the main LPL broadcast before we get into the draft, because now that we're in Game 4, things are going to get a little bit more wonkier and weirder as we go throughout. I feel like our mid laners specifically both have deep bags of champions that they can whip out. Things like the Morgana and the Lissandra for Xiaohu immediately come to the top of my mind as things that they have the potential to play now with some of these high meta picks already off the board.
I hope we're not seeing Morgana first pick, guys. That just means we're in a really troubled state. They got rid of the Ziggs, which means Pantheon is going over. What is going to be the answer? It's not like Pantheon has been bulletproof, but I am expecting for Weibo to want to break up this pairing and grab the Taliyah away from Scout. And then what are we going to pair it with? I mean, we don't have to immediately pick a jungle here, honestly. I think Rel starts to become literally probably an answer alongside the Taliyah.
I always, remember Cubby talking about the pairing of the Pantaliyah specifically when it was super popular at the start of the year, and saying that splitting it up is actually not bad if you're the Taliyah pairing, because it is very hard to play Pantheon into that pick specifically, especially now with the Rel added in for Chris. This is one of his most played, most popular, most loved champions over the past couple of years as well. And would really expect Xiaohu to lock this one in. I mean, it is another pick that he has played a ton of in 2025.
Could be Taliyah, but we were talking about the Vi priority beforehand. Right now they're going to hover it. I think Vi Rel is very, very simple. I think it is incredibly tough. You've already gotten rid of some of the combos. Alistar is gone thanks to Fearless. You banned Renata from the side of JDG. So what is going to be the response for this bottom lane? Because I'm kind of looking at what's left right now. You could play like a Jhin Rel and end up setting up for the top side, which I think is more of what I would want to see from Weibo. We've been talking about Tian and Xiaohu starting to slowly get back into form, especially in these games. Seems like JDG as a response, they want to try to play early aggressive. They have won almost every single one of these early games with zero resistance. I think taking something like a Lucian, grabbing yourself with something like the Pantheon can fix some of those side lanes and give you the ability to play early.
Yeah, I love this here for Peyz. You've won the early game three
times
in a row. The Zeri was not able to punish despite getting 9 kills. The Smolder of Light, who ended up getting a penta and winning the game. So getting this Lucian alongside the Taric, which is another support pick I love specifically into the Vi and the Rel, the hard engaged composition. It's going to make things really hard for Weibo, at least what they're showing right now.
I think also what this means is that you're giving a lot of agency to Lucian, right? Because now the dash is going to be tied to your Lucian, for the most part, especially in lane. So this should mean we're going to be seeing a lot of 2v2 action. I really hate the misfortune. It's a champion that's not going to have any dashes or a ton of mobility. So Light's micro is going to have to be on point if they don't want to lose summoner spells or their life early on. Early wombo combo here from Weibo with what they're showing.
Yeah, it's a pure play on Light's side to just sack the laning phase and play towards the team fights, it seems, because knowing that it's going to be really hard to match into the Lucian, given especially your results over the past 3 laning phases, opting for something that can be useful later on, just back up, press that R button, and hope for the best as we head into the second ban phase of this game at number 4. Mid lane going to be the target, as again, those pools have already been pinched. We're going to see it get pinched even more with Sylas and Ahri takeaways.
I like the Sylas. It will start to hint at, I think the next mid laner in line right now is Victor. I don't think you want to play Victor on the side of JDG versus what we're seeing. A Vi, a Rel, a Misfortune. Like, this is really miserable to play a lot of the times. So if Weibo want, they can try to pick that up, take that for Xiaohu, and then basically ask Scout, what is your last pick going to be? Is it going to be the Akali, which I think actually has a little bit of room to breathe here in this game? Is it going to be a Swain like we saw? I think a Swain also becomes very interesting here.
Especially if an Akali gets locked in. I feel like that's an easy answer here for Scout. There's so much going forward on Weibo's side. It can get countered already by the Taric, but if you lock in that Swain, it fully sets the identities for both of these team compositions. Could be a flex up to the top lane for the Akali, but not expecting that here. Most likely going towards Xiaohu, however. Something to keep in mind as we continue throughout the draft of this 4th game. Scout hovering this Twisted Fate, gonna lock it in, and all of a sudden JDG's damage profile comes into question.
Ooh, I like Jax. Jax is one way you can answer in a side lane, because my worry for this is I mean, Xiaohu could just go electrocute in this mid lane matchup and just try to body TF early once he hits level 2 and level 3. I think the Jax into a mobile carries in the backline into a Vi, perfectly reasonable. Your entire engage now is basically either going to be a dash stun from the Taric or a gold card here. We're getting a gangplank from Bree, the champion he's been known for in the past, but definitely trying to leverage the fact that we're trying to go a little bit later in this game. I don't think you want to try to play side lanes versus JDG, though. They've got a Pantheon and a TF.
Yeah, it's fully about picks specifically here for Tian. He's going to be so important to trying to find angles, whether it's in the mid lane while the 1-3-1's already been set up onto somebody like Peyz, or maybe in the side lane you try to overload onto Xiaoxu or Scout. Weibo have a lot of comfort, I think, is fair to say. Tian on his Vi, Breathe on the GP, Crisp on the Rel. The question is that going to be enough? Because JD Gaming's composition, very explosive and can operate in a number of different ways throughout the early to late stages.
And they have so much, like, conditional invulnerability. The Taric ultimate, the Pantheon E, there are a lot of ways that it's difficult for Weibo to actually get that first kill and find that first bite. And I don't think that they have the best amount of slows. I will not lie, though. Gangplank ultimate, Magnet Storm, Cease and Desist. Someone should die in that combo. If everything goes how it's supposed to, you're going to have an Akali as well. Weibo need to come at fights from different angles. They need to catch their opponents off guard, because if you are on vision, you are going to be walking into a stun. And that is very, very difficult to play.
The first Gangplank for Breathe, a champion we associate with him very heavily, since Worlds of 2022 with Royal Never Give Up against Gen G. Pretty incredible stuff here as they're going full comfort in Game 4. They got their backs against the wall. Let's get into it. Game number 4 here in the regional finals.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎它。
Here the gyro's getting a little louder game
yes!
after game.
Yes! Very happy, especially for some of the last best of series we're going to see in 2025, at least for the LPL official unofficial broadcast. But this is an important game. We talked about every game from here on out is essentially a best of one. We're seeing more aggressive strategies, another invade from the side of JDG. And for now, it's just going to be trying to get vision, which was very important in one of those wins about trying to track Tian when he was playing the Zed in game number 2.
And already see Peyz and Zhuo really want to make sure that this bot lane belongs to them again. That is why they locked in this Lucian. You have Xun pathing on his Wolves, maybe a reverse clear of some sort. He's actually going for an invade onto the camps of Tian on that bottom side. And that means that they just really want to make sure this bot lane is controlled here by JDG, as we see some early trading already being done. Heals being burned by both supports. And it's going to be a bloodbath in the bottom lane.
Pretty good trade coming on through for Weibo. They win that one. It's all about the extension, though. How much more can they grab? Lightslinger passive. Chris takes a hell of a lot of damage there, and all of his pots are gone. Zhuo still has Biscuit plus pot. Feeling very, very good about their spot, and they now notice Tian is here, or they know that Xun is here on the bottom side.
Try to pressure him out. However, the wave is crashing, and that means there would be a lot of XP that Weibo's bot lane will miss if they try to prevent this Gromp from going over. So instead, they're sitting back and hoping they can survive the inevitable dive that could come through. It looks like the wave took long enough to make it a little bit longer.
Ooh.
And that means that Tian has actually now an opportunity to try to make something happen as the wave crashes in. A very important dive as Light has already dinged level 2. They go for the stun, but it's going to be the misfortune to flash over it. In goes Xun. It's going to be first blood, and nobody on JDG will fall as the turret aggro was juggled beautifully. They bought enough time though for Tian to arrive, but Peyz flashes at just the perfect moment, and Zhuo will use his as well. JDG are all alive in the bottom lane.
That's a huge wave being missed by Light. They need to get escorted all the way out here because a single Vault Breaker plus those denting blows could turn into a triple kill here for Tian. No flash. He's going to get this entire bottom side jungle. Not too bad. You know, we're talking about vertical jungling. Xun already flipping for a level 3 dive. And while Light misses out on a portion of that, is going to be double red buffs here for Tian. He's going to get double Raptors, so a lot of experience going over to this Vi, while in recompense, it is going to be about a quarter of a level early on being given over to JDG.
I mean, it's the difference in terms of just the execution. You think about those dives that Weibo went for onto Xiaoxu on the Ambessa that last game. End up being traded. Obviously, Weibo win that game, but JDG in a similar situation with an advantageous bottom side punish Light beautifully. They let him miss that huge wave. It's going to be Peyz and Dro coming back nicely, bouncing this wave right back into Weibo's territory. And they're feeling good here in the early game of Game 4.
All right, Shin's going to flip his pathing a little bit here. He's going to go for topside scuttle. He's going to do his topside camps. Look to maybe make a play towards bot yet again. Going to see what we get. This is the matchup that we were talking about. There it is.
Nice dash forward. And now Light already chunked low again. This Misfortune doesn't have any summoner spells. A nice dash is canceled by Crisp Stun. And a Q from the Rel is enough to save Light's life.
They're going to miss out on this wave. Another wave being missed out. Does Light and opt to stay? No, they're going to take their recall. Hope that the strut passive is enough. He recalls and he gets a refillable and a call. That is not what you want to see from this Misfortune this early on. And I will note, the mid laners are getting close to level 6 here. So, and pretty decent chunk there from Xiaohu, but imagine that Scout in about a wave and a half is going to be getting access to that ultimate, and Light still has no summoner spells.
And he's, yeah, that means that Scout's going to ult top lane, right? Totally? Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like a very easy angle of attack for JDG, which is to continue to make Light's life a living hell. Probably punish him for what he did to JDG in that last game. Some top lane skirmishing, not going to matter too much. The big thing to note is that Breed will be able to scale very well on this GP, especially in these team fights if you can get those barrel combos off. But we're not going to get to that stage for quite a bit.
Look at this mini wave pushing into JDG. Now Peyz is here, but Tian is here, so is Shun. Decent damage. I think this is fine. You can literally just play this slow. The wave's pushing away anyway. They're not going to get access to any of this CS. And Tian basically just has to wait and babysit this lane because it is kind of in a pretty tough spot. And maybe, just maybe, they can try to sneak into the bush.
Wave is still somehow pushing against Weibo. This is a really tough situation for them. I mean, every early game's been rough. This is one that could potentially top the rest. Sure, Light has an extra level, at least at this point, over Peyz, but that's going to get evened out very quickly here with one more going down. Tian getting an opportunity to enter this brush. And it's been a little bit too long for that wave to be there to make sure.
Oh my god.
Now Peyz got to be careful here.
Even if Xiaohu gets here, I mean, Scout has ultimate, right? Like, he can very easily make his way over. Has Ignite as well.
Oh, and it's Tian going back to base at just the right time, and in comes Scout with the gold card. The Ignite is ticking down the MF, and it'll take Light down. Weibo tried so hard to prevent that from happening, but as soon as Light and Crisp are vulnerable once again, JDG strike for the second kill of the game.
That is incredible timing here for JDG's bottom lane. And with Light using the cleanse, he can't get rid of the Ignite. So he ends up going down. That's a kill to Scout. Not much stolen from Tian's camps, but that is like literally worst case scenario. He can't waste more time in that brush because he has to go and hit his jungle camps. He has to be level 6 for the Herald or the grubs that are spawning in 30 seconds. Still a lot that I think Weibo can still do in this game. It is an early advantage, but it means the bottom lane duos are going to be able to move first here for Weibo, giving them early priority to start putting down vision in the river.
So far, things not working out well for Weibo as they have fallen down to one of their biggest deficits at the 8-minute mark in this series. At over 2,000 at this point. It's pretty well distributed across the board as well. And obviously Weibo's team fighting later on can be impactful, but not if Peyz is this strong, not if Scout is having the impact that he's been having so far. It's going to be a tough game for Weibo to try to overcome. They're going to be able to get at least one of these grubs, but that's all that Tian's going to be able to pick up.
TF moves into Fog of War immediately. He's going to take control of mid. easy. I mean, it's not like he's doing anything else. He has no ultimate. 2 grubs for JDG is a very, very good win. Both teams would like to be on the side lane, but I think for JDG, the fact that you have, or for Weibo's sake, the fact that you don't have 2 grubs, maybe something that you could have used to try to leverage in a side lane, because Jax can be potent, but he can only match 1 player at a time. He can't be in both lanes at the same time. So for Scout's sake, he's very happy that he's going to have these 2 grubs, and more so taking away that power from their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, added benefit that you have, 2 very solid split pushing carries, as we're already seeing that 1-3-3-1 opened up with Peyz and Joel rotating mid. Always a good thing to do if you're in the Lucian lane and you have that ultimate at the ready, especially if you have Prio. Just sit mid. It just gives your team so much pressure across both sides of the map, and JDG are using that to pick up this first dragon.
I mean, it's free. We'll see. Looks like Tian does want to try to get the smite steal, but you're playing into a Taric. As Vi, if you don't dash out or you don't dash away, you will just get hit with a dazzle. Looks like Joel does want to get a little bit frisky.
Stun doesn't connect on Joel though, as Peyz dashes forward and flashes straight
Peyz!
into light to land the stun. In goes the ultimate, as it'll keep JDG alive for now, but now Peyz is way too far forward and will get taken down by Tian with the cease and desist. Joel the next target, as Xiaoxu is looking to hunt him down. The Akali will pick up another kill, and Weibo even up the score at 2.
There is a great punish. The flash from Light gets him over the wall. Peyz can't hit him, and at that point, he is already dead. Great investment there from Weibo to get themselves back into this game. And how much can they grab on the bottom side? Because there's a huge wave stacking here for Light and Chris. Can they get enough damage to maybe get a plate? Maybe even get 2 if they're feeling extra silly. They're going to back off instead, respect the tempo of their opponents coming back out of base. We can take a look at this replay one more time. Both he can step up. He's allowed to do this. Shun tries to find engage. A great buffer here from Crisp. But Peyz, man, this flash, very, very expensive. Especially those clicks forward. Just good timing here from Weibo. There's no ultimate. There's no Cosmic Radiance. Breathe had moved down from the top side, so you got a kill here for Xiaohu. And also got your Misfortune a little bit more involved in the game.
JDG being a little bit too disconnected on that last play. It was a flashy move from Peyz, but Light had a flash of his own. Able to get over the wall. He ate the full issuance of the culling. Would have most likely meant that the Weibo bot laner would have died for the 3rd time this game, but instead, Peyz ends up getting sacrificed and getting a little bit of gold back here into Weibo's hands. A kill onto Light, a kill onto Xiaohu. Both definitely going to be very impactful, just in terms of stabilizing things a little bit.
Very important, and also Tian's just had like a decent series. Those first 2 games were a little tough, but I feel like, as we've said time and time again for junglers, a lot of the time you are a victim to your circumstances. Tian has been, like he tried to pull out the Zen in game number 2. Didn't end up working, but on this Vi, you have to basically just play janitor duty. You have to play for your lanes a little bit more. You're not as self-sufficient. You have a lot of agency because of your Vault Breaker and the cease and desist. You basically get to dictate a lot of fights. Pretty decent power spike, I think, coming on through for Weibo. You're going to have completed Sundered Sky. You have Trinity Force as well here for Breathe. This is around the time I would feel like Weibo, despite some of the deficits, should feel decent about their spot in the game and at least be willing to tussle with their opponents. We're going to have an objective spawn in 2 minutes, so
it's important to remember as well. Sure, Breathe has the Silver Serpents in the top lane on the Gangplank, but Scout just gets so much gold, especially onto Xiaohu in the early stages of this game. Speaking of, going to be targeted here as in goes both global ultimates to try to take the Akali down as I say it. Scout's been able to leverage his lead very nicely throughout the series, and he finds another one here onto his opposing mid laner.
Is that just the turret? I mean, you have Taric with these empowered auto attacks from his passive. That was a stun from Zhuo into Gold Card into the Pantheon. 0 counterplay from Xiaohu there, aside from just giving up the turret preemptively. What are Weibo able to get on the other side of the map? Because Tian goes in the topside jungle, maybe gets a camp, but isn't able to find all that much. It is buying Light time. So they got gold, split it amongst 4 members. Light able to at least hit on this wave, get himself a turret plate. It sucks for Xiaohu and opens up the map, but it depends on if JDG are actually able and willing to punish having a much longer lane on the bottom side now.
Xiao's going to be very careful as continuing to fall behind behind Scout. But again, the Twisted Fate getting that extra gold. So sure, 2.5 is a lot, but you have to remember the extra income being accounted for in there as well. As well as the fact that, you know, this Lucian into MF lane was supposed to be one that very much went towards Peyz and Zhuo. The fact that Light's only, you know, 700 gold behind after he collects his wave, not the worst thing in the world considering how that early game went.
And he's going to have Cole completed, so he's going to get at least 350 back. So it's not bad, honestly. Breeze also farming up a Storm here, doing fine into this Jax matchup. It's going to get a little bit easier as time goes on, but Jax can be a huge menace once he finishes boots. And if we go extra late, like 3 and 4 items, do expect that JDG side lanes are going to be feeling a little bit more good about themselves. Scout also opting for the Rod of Ages build, so he's going to have a lot more HP than maybe his opponents are expecting.
Yeah, always a little bit of a sneaky frontliner. The problem is the damage that JDG are going to be able to do later on in this game. Once the Lucian perhaps is not as strong of a point, and the Scout have a gold card bot, depending on how the build goes, it's going to be a lot focused towards the top side of the map. Xiaoxu and Shun going to have to do a little bit of heavy lifting for this JDG team in a potential series clinching moment. As the other dragon spawned again, bot lane has been the focus here for a large portion of this early game, and we're seeing still some more attention towards them.
It's a lot of vision already secured here for JDG Zhuo. We can't be doing... Okay, you have to be so careful. They don't know that Pantheon isn't in the area. Neither is Twisted Fate. But Peyz is pushing out this mid-wave. Light is going to have to be late to this fight. And at the very least, JDG, if Weibo decide to opt for an engage, they're going to lose their mid-tier one. And because of this now, it should be JDG at least being able to have position over this objective. Remember, Breathe has ultimate.
And a TP if he wants to join, but right now getting a ton of value on that top side tier 1. The Dragon getting very slowly as JDG are more baiting for a fight than actually trying to take this objective down. Tian has been masterful at stealing these away all series. We'll see if he gets a chance to do it again. In goes Xiaohu with a perfect execution. They immediately lock down Shun and take him down, but the Cosmic Radiance can't even prevent any sort of invulnerability. Sees an assist onto Peyz. He gets taken down by the double up of Light, and Weibo make magic happen in the Dragon Pit. They go 3 for nothing.
I'm looking at our engage points. Scout is playing on the top side of the river. Zhuo is playing a little bit away from the Dragon. Yet another fight where I think Zhuo has a severe misunderstanding of what his job in this game and what he needs to do to accomplish a victory for his team. Dragon still goes over to JDG, but god damn it, man. Like, it's this entire series now. I ascribed it to Weibo last game. I'm going to give it to both of these teams. 1 step forward, now it's 2 steps back. As JDG, we look back at this play. Look at the members that I called out. Scout is 1v2 pressuring both Rel and Misfortune. Why is Zhuo not stepping up here and trying to stun Tian and Xiaohu? These players should never be allowed to hit into this pit. It's double summoner spells out from Peyz. He uses the barrier and the flash, so now that's not going to be available. Scout loses his flash. These next 5 minutes are incredibly difficult for this JDG team comp to play, and if Cosmic Radiance isn't up and being used in a reasonable amount of fashion, Weibo can actually really, really strike deep here in this game.
Yeah, take a look at the gold. It was 3K in JDG's favor, and now it is even. And you can give credit to Breathe farming up a Storm there, but those 3 kills having such a high impact in just getting resources back over to Weibo's side. Now all of a sudden Light is ahead of Peyz in gold, working towards that, I would assume, a Collector or an Edge of Night, just to keep himself a little bit healthier and safer. And Xiaohu now on the Akali, online as well. And if Zhuo is unable to press that Cosmic Radiance at the right time, this Akali is going to be a massive problem.
This is the problem in the side lanes. Jax can only beat one of them. Jax can beat the Gangplank inside later. Jax can beat Akali, but usually they're not going to be on the same side of the map here. So Twisted Fate's going to be pretty targeted, at least, because he doesn't know where Vi is, and he doesn't have a lot of vision. There's a Herald that is on the top side of the map. He knows that he's the play. I like this respect from Scout, who has not only the ultimate, as well as the TP to be able to match. You see that Tian is going to probably just show on this wave, and that'll be the trade of objectives for the turret.
And Weibo making magic happen again here towards the bottom lane, and Scout just can't do anything about the damage and the crowd control issued by the mid-jungle duo of Weibo Gaming. That's another kill into their pocket. It'll come at the cost of the Rift Herald. But Weibo just going to get even more damage onto this bot lane tier 1 instead.
Look at the gold, though. Akali's going to get this entire turret for herself, and that'll be almost everybody from the side of Weibo having a gold lead over their opponents. They're going to see if they can make a dive onto Breathe, but he has the cannon barrage. They can very easily clear these minion waves.
Yeah, here comes Shun, immediately coming in with that Grand Starfall, but Breathe eats an orange and is going to keep himself alive for a little longer. The tower finally falls. Peyz, his face taken Tian!
What are we doing?
And he's just going to be taken down instantly. AD carry for JDG out of the fight, and now they have all collapsed upon Shun. Pantheon down, double kill for Tian, and his domination on the top side of the Rift for Weibo.
And now, they just used the Rift Herald. They got nothing for it. Oh my god, are we going to see the same thing? I feel like the writing is already on the walls here, Grapes. Are JDG about to have 2 best of 5s? The bookend and the beginning. Chapter 1 and the final chapter for JDG be reverse sweeps here in the postseason. Joe's way too, oh, Peyz. This is the last time that we need to be seeing mechanical misplays from you. Great job from Breathe. He clears out the minion wave. Peyz has to walk in front of Tian. Just dies for free. And then, don't even get me started on this Herald. Weibo gets so much off of this play, not just including those kills.
Pretty hard to come up with the words of what has happened here. We were praising JDG as being fully back in those first 2 games. And I hate to give our host Slayer any credit, but who knows? After those first 2 games, it seems like a lot of repeating history from that BLG upper quarterfinal, as they do not seem like they are back in a good position right now. They're down 1,500 gold. The dragon spawns in 5 seconds, and Weibo have a Fnatic Brush set up. They're going to immediately find Xiaohu, who forces a flash away. But the Destiny going to reveal all members of Weibo and perhaps give an opportunity to come back into the fight.
All right, he's going to have to just join back in. Breathe and Jax on this side. Jax, I think, one of the first fights we're going to see Xiaoxu really join up with the team. Gold card being queued up here by Scout. Who does it land on?
Cannon Barrage pushes JDG away. They're going to have to just give this up unless Shun can find a steal. He has no flash. He's going to have to run in there right now as the Dragon is at 3,000 HP. In goes Xiaoxu, has the counter-strike, but a 3-man Magnus Storm comes forward from Chris. The Dragon is secured on the side of JD Gaming, but it's going to be Peyz locked up once again by the Season 6. He flashes away though, and he'll be able to survive until Xiaohu with a perfect execution gives a double kill. Back over to Breathe on his signature pick in the GP. He's already done 3k damage in this fight. Can he find any more? There's no more Taric ulti. They're going to flash on to Peyz. They're going to take down the superstar of JD Gaming, and only Scout remains. Xiaohu gets the final kill, and it's 5 kills over to Weibo.
They don't even get the Dragon. That is the only thing that is going in favor of JDG. Do they even win the game if they get a Mountain Soul? I don't think so at this point. They are making misplay after misplay, and Weibo are fighting back here tonight. Not 45 minutes ago, we were thinking this was going to be a 3-0. Now, Weibo stand on the precipice of sending us to a Game 5. Crisp landing an incredible Rel engage onto 3 members to set up a Misfortune ultimate. And while it doesn't land all of the damage thanks to the Cosmic Radiance, all of this between the top side of this Weibo team is exactly what we asked for coming into tonight. Breathe, Xiaohu, and Tian are standing tall for Weibo to make these plays happen and to get them into game number 5.
The smallest execution pieces now going Weibo's way. A stark difference from what we saw. And you can see the fans in Shenzhen, some in complete jubilation, others in disbelief, as JDG are seeing it happen to them again. They remember last year in the regional finals where Weibo took them to 5, ended up taking them down, eliminating their hopes at going to the World Championships. They thought they have conquered those demons, but the Gauntlet Gods are still alive for now as the Otacon's been started up. It's at 5,000 HP. Shun found a steal around the dragon. Can he find it here at the Otacon? He jumps forward.
Oh!
He takes it away again. And the Otacon belongs to JD Gaming. Xiaohu going forward. He has the shroud to keep himself alive. Xiaoxu buying a lot of time, and the perfect execution of Xiaohu will take down the Jax. It is another 3 kills into the hands of Weibo, and they're still looking for their bottom lane counterparts. Peyz still alive. He eats a full barrel though, from the side of Breathe. It's Crisp going down, but it'll come at the cost of his ADC, as it's another 4 kills in for Weibo.
And Xiaohu gets a push on this mid wave. The Otacon, yes, these smites are going over to Shun, but look at the cost. Gonna be a 5,000 gold lead, and this Gangplank is becoming an issue. This Akali is completely untouched in these fights. JDG have yet to find an answer. That is part of the Taric engage. You are predicating on utilizing this Lucian, but they're not able to do. This is wild.
There was an attempt there.
Got the flash.
I guess you can give him credit, as that is a big cooldown about a minute before Baron spawns. Hey, credit to Shun for stealing this away, but Weibo just have more sauce at this point. I don't know.
Look at the. I mean, part of this is that Peyz can't hit. A great shroud coming through for Xiaohu. They're chasing picture in picture.
Already the Cosmic Radiance to come out of Scout is just completely out of position. He gets taken down by Tian, but it's a trade 1-for-1 as Shun will get one right back. Peyz comes forward with the culling. They take down Chris. This is now JDG's opportunity. They find a stun.
No way.
On the Tian and force the Vi to flash away. Xiaoxu dashes forward, but won't be able to find the kill.
What else can they grab right now? Baron spawns in 3. They've got a minion wave here in mid. It doesn't seem like JDG want to contest. They're going to recall because we've got the Mountain Soul spawning in a minute. What exactly happened? This is blind. There are no wards here. And Shun just throws the Grand Starfall, finds the Akali. Thankfully for Weibo, the Akali will be able to walk back in. They try to find Scout at Cosmic Radiance by so much time. As I'm looking at the minimap right now, Xiaoxu and Peyz nowhere near this fight. I think we can maybe even thank Scout for having so much HP. It took Weibo too long to be able to finally squeeze out.
Come back to live. It is Weibo still ahead. However, with that Otacon going over, still winning conditions available for JDG. Shun has crucially both granted them that major objective as well as the soul point. Mountain Soul would make things very much more of a challenge for Weibo, given there are a lot of bursts in their kits, specifically, on the likes of Xiaohu and Breathe. They can get a little bit extra resistances, especially with how strong the front line is. JDG could have an opportunity to come back here in this game. But instead of going for the soul spawning now, they're going for the Baron and forcing Weibo to make a response.
There it is. Scryer's Bloom is going to catch them out. A lot of damage coming on through versus JDG. Xiaoxu is in a flank position. Breathe is going to find him now. He's going to leap strike out, get himself to safety. Look at the advantages that JDG have. They have the Otacon. They have 2 grubs. They have feats of strength awarded to them. 3 dragons. And there's still a dragon that is alive now. TF is sitting in mid. Are we going to see Weibo look to pick off Scout?
Tian is looking to try to get Scout, but instead could have actually been a bad mistake, as Scout's going to Destiny back into the Baron pit. It's going to allow the objective to be secured by JD Gaming. And that is a big chunk of gold, a big cooldown.
Oh my god!
The Magnet Storm! Chris finds 3! It's a 1-for-1 though, but Peyz is taken out once again. Lights untouched in this team fight. He's trapped in the pit, but he has a triple kill. He flashes over, but it'll eventually go down to Shun. And the Pantheon of JDG allowed them to reach new heights in the fight. Scout gets a double, and it's an ace for JD Gaming.
That's Mountain Soul, and that could be the fight. Now that JDG can mount themselves back into this game. So much to go over in that. If Light had not only flashed over the wall, but didn't walk into the Twisted Fate Q, he could have lived. That could have been them having enough time, enough healing with his Bloodthirster to contest and stop JDG from getting Mountain Soul. But Baron at their backs, the fight win alongside this objective. Maybe, just maybe, this could be what JDG need to keep themselves in this game number 4 and close it out and take a game versus IG tomorrow. Not able to get into the pit. This is a beautiful Rel Magnet Storm from Crisp. yet again, setting up so much of Light's damage. You're sitting there with a cannon barrage as well. This is as perfect as it's going to get for a team fight here for Weibo. But they cannot kill Shun. He still has Guardian Angel during all of this. And all of that damage used to kill Peyz. And we're just seeing Shun and Scout. 10-10 is living a dream. A true dramatic game for Scout and Shun having to play back-to-back and find a win here today.
What a game. These past three have certainly delivered, even though the first one was a bit of a question mark at that for JDG. Baron buff, Mountain Soul, and all of a sudden the script is flipped once again as JDG start their assault on the bottom lane tier 2. They stun up Xiaoxu, but it still should be the structure going down as Weibo are going to retreat back to their tier 3. The gold cards were massive for Scout in that last team fight as well. We did not give it enough credit, but you can see it now with the rapid fire cannon in hand. He's able to issue out stuns from such a long range, making it very difficult for Weibo to push forward.
I think the only position that I could see Weibo maybe finding something is these 3 wards sitting behind JDG. There is a TP available here for Xiaohu. We're getting some skirmishing as Baron waves start to crash, start to break down the base of Weibo. These could be the last final moments of a Weibo team that has not missed being able to make Worlds through the regional gauntlet.
I mean, this was such a Weibo-favored game. We were preparing to call out for Silver Scrapes, but JDG won none of it. They found a beautiful fight, a beautiful start around that Baron, and things have been up for them ever since. They get 2 inhibitors in the mid and the bottom lane and can now retreat back to pick up a bunch of items as their reward in terms of gold.
If we give an MVP and if we see JDG win today, I need to see a Shun MVP. He would have gotten all 3 MVPs for their game wins, and he deserves it in this game. Gets the smite onto Otacon at the very critical moment, sets up that play that kills Xiaohu in the bottom side, gets them a position for the Baron, and then makes the play happen inside the pit himself. So much laying on this young man's shoulders. The weight of being replaced in summer of last year, going to Worlds and eventually being able to help take his team all the way to the finals. Having a dysfunctional JDG where he has to be the leader, the captain, in-game for a bunch of misfits. And now, 1 game away from having another chance. One last best of 5 tomorrow against Invictus Gaming for a chance at Worlds.
And Shun, seeing his former teammates on BLG lift that Silver Dragon trophy again.
Bin's waiting.
It must have put some sort of motivation into him. He even needed any more, as he is playing at an entirely new level to try to send JDG to a series against Invictus Gaming. But as we said, he gets caught up on the Cease and Desist. Going to be kept alive by the Cosmic Radiance, and already the Guardian Angel has been popped. A Magnus Storm is massive onto 4 members of JDG, but Xiaoxu in the back line will eliminate Light in a 1v2. Xiaohu is going to fall as the little tiger of Weibo will drop with a whimper. Weibo Gaming were the gods of the gauntlet for the past 2 seasons, but it's JDG who conquer the Titans today. They win the series 3-1 and will face off in a do-or-die match with Invictus Gaming tomorrow.
All right, it's time to see which BLG jungler deserves to be at Worlds. Is it gonna be Wei or is it gonna be Shun? A date with Destiny tomorrow. The most invigorating team of the year in Invictus versus one of the most surprising teams of the year in JDG. Expectations going against them. They were not meant to win here tonight. They were not meant to even make it very far in any of the brackets. Scout has been a liability all year, but in their last hour, in potentially what could have sent them to Game 5, it's that man in the jungle. Shun deserves an MVP for this game. He's gotten every one of them here in this series when JDG have won.
Get all 5 of those members back at Worlds. It'd be not a job done just yet, but Shun wants to join his former teammates and make sure that he gets a chance to prove that he belongs at the league's best. And for Xiaoxu and Zhuo, 1 step closer to their first international appearance, to go alongside some of the legends that we have here in League of Legends esports as a whole, like Scout, like Peyz, and now Shun, trying to etch his name into those history books as well. As for Weibo, pretty surprising if you go into the start of the season and you see that 4 out of the 5 of that same roster that made it to World Semifinals just a year ago is going to be going home as the 6th seed from the LPL. Pretty unexpected. Of course, even adding Tian back to that organization from TS, and it just never came together for this team. And we thought that maybe this was the last chance at redemption in the regional finals, but they did not have it today.
I feel bad for those 5. I mean, we started off the series with 2 games where Light and Chris just looked like they did not want. They were very actively making it known they did not want to play together. There was also a clip that was posted earlier on social media about, it was an onstage interview with Light about him making his 600 game, and he said, well, with that milestone, I don't think I'm seeing 700, which is potentially really tough. We'll see what the offseason looks like for this team. Xiaohu, a tough year. I mean, going 7th, 8th in Split 1, 5th, 6th in Split 2, the same result here in Split 3. This team never really got off the ground. The bottom lane wasn't working. It felt like for a large portion of the early season, Tian and Xiaohu just did not work well together. So we got a lot of really, really big names. JDG, though, one more best of 5, one last dance before we potentially have our 4th seed going to play against T1.
Yeah, I mean, remember that we don't call it necessarily a gauntlet because of the fact that it's like an upper and a lower bracket to start things off. But for these 2 teams specifically, it is a gauntlet to get to Worlds. You have to win 3 best of 5 series in succession. JDG completed step 1 here. They now have IG and then T1 still in their way to make it all the way to the Swiss stage. And we'll be very excited to see if they can continue that path tomorrow against, of course, one of the greatest teams that we've had here in the year in IG. That's going to do it for us here on the caster desk. Let's send things back over to the analysts and Slayer